Hey y'all, I finally took my braids out after a year. And let me tell you, this was a journey. I thought I was growing out my gray, but the post braid reality hit different. I've been natural since 2013, so this is not new. This is not me embracing natural hair because it's been my life. But what is new? It's been a while since I've had to see it every day, deal with it every day, and real talk, having to accept all this gray without the security blanket of a protective style, woo, that part caught me off guard. Hey y'all! So before we get into this big chop conversation, let me give you a sneak peek of the hair. All right? So we are almost a week after having chopped, after having put a color rinse in to hide the gray, and I'm going to walk you through all that. But let's get that shot in. Here we go. She's pretty tightly packed. The rinse has given me some pretty good coverage. I've got a lot of shrinkage here. It's really, really short, at least for me, and from where I came from to what it is now. But that's to be expected. My hair is coily, so we get shrink. All right. Now I'm about to wash this bad boy for the first time since starting this entire ordeal, and I have no idea where it's going to end up. I don't know if the gray is going to make a magical appearance. I don't know what the texture is going to look like because it's only been back out in the world for a few days, assimilating and settling in. So, for all I know, the texture may become looser or it may become tighter. We will find out together. So, as I'm doing that, because woo child, the suspense is killing me, why don't you subscribe, hit the notification bell? Because we are going to talk about the big chop. We're going to talk about the gray hair. We're going to talk about all the emotions and all the feels that I got and that the whole aftermath of the process. And we're going to talk about what I'm going to do next if I can figure it out. Maybe you can help me. All right. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. I'll see you then. Okay, y'all. So here I am. I'm back. I am freshly washed. I am fried, dyed, and laid to the side, but not because I'm natural. So let me show you. Here's what we're looking like. Okay. It looks about the same, except there's a little bit of fading of the rinse. And you can start to see some of the gray poking out in certain places. But other than that, we're in a good space, okay? The hair is starting to bounce back. She's starting to feel moisturized and nourished, which is a good thing. So let's get into this big chop and what made me do it. So obviously, I had to start with the braids, right? I had to cut those, I had to take them out, and I cut them at my length, my hair length. And then the first decision came. I cut it some more. I cut it shorter than my own hair. So by the time I took these braids out, my hair was already cut. Okay. So after that, I spent a good 2 hours taking these things out of my hair because they had been in there for 11 weeks. That was something else. I got tired. I was really tired. So then it was time to cut the crispy. Hmm. So you see me here with a bun. The hair is very short already. And then it was a matter of just taking it down. So I didn't want to cut to where the demarcation of color is, meaning from the gray to the brownish golden tips. I wanted to go a little longer than that because I wanted to leave room to play. I know good and well that my coily hair is going to shrink up like if somebody owes it money. It's just going to run back to my scalp. So I didn't want to cut too much because I didn't want to look too short when all was said and done. So that's what you see here. So take a look at the first snippety snip. Dun, 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 dun. Mm, 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 mm. And she's going in, and with a house scissors at that, not even shears. Girl, I don't know what is wrong with me. But when the spirit moves you, the spirit moves you. So that was the first cut. And I went in a couple more times and got it shorter. And that's how I ended up where I am today. Isn't it super short? As I'm looking at this, I can feel that what I was feeling at the time. It was like my heart was beating. I was like, okay, you made the first cut. There's no going back. I was like, the other part is I wanted to make sure that it was even because, but of course it wasn't. Girl, I'm grown. I survived the pandemic of 2020, so I'll survive this. So now I'm giving Cool Auntie, I'm giving I read Toni Morrison for fun. So let's go a little deeper. Let's get into how I was really feeling. All right. So the braids were in for a year. The goal was to let the gray come out, let it play, let it be free. However, once I took those braids out, the sides were entirely white. The ends were my old golden color. And as you can see, the roots were kind of salt and peppery everywhere else. And what I didn't want to do is to jump into braids again because I was unsure of what I wanted to do. So I wanted to make a decision that was irreversible, honey, because sometimes you just need to be bold. You just need to jump in the water and figure it out as you go. All right. So, got those scissors and I got to chopping. And it felt liberating. It felt great. And then at the same time, it was absolutely terrifying. So, the one thing I didn't want to do was to cut too much because I know that if I went too low, because I have that kind of saggy, sad face, right? I didn't want to have harsh lines. And I'm not a professional, so I will leave the professionals to giving me the appropriate shape. But I was not about to go in there trying to do it myself. I just need this bad boy low enough that it, what is going on today? That it would be low maintenance and I would be able to manage it. I'd be able to sit with it for a while without having to rush into either a cut, a color, a shape, what have you. Now, the other thing is, I didn't want to leave my hair the way it was in its natural state, but at the length it was, because what I have done for several years of having natural hair is I would put my hair up in a fro hawk. Not because that was a look that I absolutely loved. It did become my signature look, but not because I loved it, because I didn't know what else to do with it. So it was easy to just say, well, the sides and the back have no shape. I don't like how it looks. Let's put it up and fro hawk this bad boy. I did not want to do that again because I'm all about finding things that I absolutely love. So I'm sitting with this hair. I'm going to sit with it until that spirit comes over me the same way it did when I did the big chop. I want it to come over me and say, this is the look I want. This is the cut I want. and this is the color that I want. So the objective was to go gray, but I did toss this rinse in because I had an event last weekend. But it's not permanent. It comes out in a couple of washes. So it gives me some time and space to just figure out what I want to do as far as color. Okay. So I will not be doing permanent color. At least I don't foresee that sitting here today, but you never say never because it's our prerogative, right? Didn't Bobby Brown say that? All right. But I need to sit with this so that once it comes to me, I'm going to know exactly what I want to do. But in the meantime and in between time, honey, I could be bald headed and I am going to make that the best bald headed do that you've ever seen. Why can't I cut my hair? Girl, please. It's not that serious. So that's the big chop. Next, let's talk about the emotions. Okay, so we always talk about hair as our crown. We talk about hair as a source of our beauty. We talk about hair as our style. Okay, I get that. It's also a big part of, I think, how we are perceived. And I will go even a step further. When we look at the African American community, when we look at Black folk, okay, there's not a hairstyle under the sun that we have not tried, that we have not dallied with. There's not a color we haven't done, a wig we haven't done. We will put Indian hair, Malaysian hair, we will put anybody's hair in our head. We will put synthetic hair. And oh, by the way, we just found out that 10 major brands of synthetic hair were found to be cancerous. I still haven't checked to see if that hair that I've been rocking for an entire year is on that list. Right now, I don't want to know. I've got bigger fish to fry. But I digress. When I cut my hair, there was a feeling of elation. You hear me? Of lightness. So I absolutely loved having braids. I absolutely love having all those golden tones. I think they suit me well. However, I also found that once again, 95% of the time, I was wearing my hair up in a bun, much like I did wearing my hair up in a fro hawk. So why is that? Well, if you've been around these parts, you've heard me say, okay, that I get very hot when that hair is touching me. You've heard me say that it's not the easiest thing in the world, okay? Washing it, the extra weight, making sure that it's not in my jacket when the wind's blowing outside, it's not getting caught in the car door, all this long haired stuff. I don't know how y'all do it. I really don't. I think my inner self knows the truth. I'm just a short hair girly. I always have been, but I always pretended I wasn't because there's so much emphasis put on, oh, you're growing your hair out. Oh, look at your hair. Look at how much it's grown. Grow it for what? Grow it to put it up in a bun? Grow it to put it up in a fro hawk? Grow it to put it under a wig? Grow it to put it in a weave? Grow it to put it in braids? Girl, please. Now, one of my first videos here on YouTube is all about that. I will link it in the description box. You should definitely give it a listen because that whole thing of we listen and we don't judge, honey, I was judging. And if you watch it, then you can listen. Anywho, the emotions. the feeling of lightness. But then right after that came, what have I done? Am I going to be able to manage this? And because it was right before I had an event, it was like, okay, the tips are golden, the roots are salt and pepper, the sides are stark white. I can't go anywhere looking like this. And I can't make an appointment to get my hair done. Actually, I don't want to make an appointment to get my hair done because I want to experiment. I want to figure out what I want to do. I don't want to rush into anything. And I darn sure don't want to put braids in again. And oh, by the way, the place I go to get my braids, they are lovely, excellent work. They did an amazing job, and that's why I went back to them over and over again for an entire year. Okay. So, that feeling of anxiety wasn't about my haircut. It wasn't about the color. It was about what if I were to just travel around like this for a while? How is that going to impact my style? And of course, I'm making videos on Instagram every day, styling clothing. I've got my group gig with the cookies over on Instagram where we style up stuff every Wednesday. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not going to be a good look. It's not going to give me good fashion. All right. So I need to figure out something. Hence the rinse. So that little $5.99 rinse came in clutch, baby. Oh, yeah. And once I put that in, I felt great. So now the goal is for me to also test out this rinse. So if I elect to stay grayless for a little while, I want to make sure that the rinse is not going to be irritating to my scalp. I want to see how long it lasts. What does the maintenance look like? So this is a time for me to sit with myself, enjoy myself. I almost said and play with myself, but pause. Not appropriate, but you know exactly what I mean, right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. This is the time for a little fun and experimentation. So, for those of you that have complimented me on the cut, thank you. I really appreciate that. For those of you that are still getting used to it, I understand. But either way, I'm still me. So, there's that. Next. Okay, so some of the biggest surprises on this journey. When I first went to cut the hair, I stared at those scissors for such a long time. I was like, girl, you sure about this? Are you sure about this? Um, but I grew a pair and I did it. And I'm so glad that I did. What else was extremely surprising? I think when I first took the braids out, my hair, of course, was dehydrated, feeling what I'd call like straw, very crispy. And I've experienced this in the past when I took my braids out, but it seemed even more so because I knew uh, that I was not going to put braids in again. And I think I took that for thinning, but as you can see, there's no bald spots here, okay? This bad boy is thick. It needs to be thinned out. Um, the other thing is short hair does not necessarily equate to less maintenance. This is more work, of course, than having braids. So that is something, muscles that I haven't had to work for a while. So I need to get used to that again. Okay. Um, what else is there that's interesting about this? So my hair coil, my curl pattern or coil pattern, I should say, I do not have curls. I have coils. So I think the biggest thing is um, my hair was a lot more moisturized, nourished prior to braids, right? That's something it has to now reacclimate. So my coils had spring. They're not springy right now. And let me show you what I mean. So if I pull this before, if I let it go, it would spring back. Now, if I let this go, this bad boy is going to stay there. See what I'm saying? Do you see that? I know it's kind of far away, but it's still there. Okay? So that's something getting used to. I have more of an afro now than a coily do. So that's a little bit of a difference because this is predominantly new growth. The coils are very, very tight. So from a distance where you are, I look very afro versus coily, if that makes sense. So I feel like I need to get close to you in order for you to see my coil pattern instead of me just sitting back here and you can see it. You let me know if I'm right or wrong or if I'm just thinking too much. But those are just the things that I've noticed right off the bat. Uh, what I've been doing, because I it's been about a week and I've shampooed, I think, about 3 different times, right? This is the first time since I did the rinse was 2 days ago because when I told you I'd be right back, that was on Wednesday. It is now Friday. Okay. And I think what I'm noticing is the water absorption is a little different, but I think with a few more clarifying shampoos, I'll probably get back to my springiness, hopefully. If not, it is what it is, right? And I'm also experimenting with different ways of doing my hair. So I think when I first did this, I did a coil out. So that's where you wash your hair, and I use basically uh, 2 products, right? I use Most Def, and I also use Big Papa, both from the Do. And the first time around, I did a coil out, which is basically me taking sections and coiling it around my finger. That way, it takes more time. The second time, I think what I did is I really drenched my hair in a lot of mousse and I did a shingle with it, a shingle method. Um, and that worked as well. I didn't like it as much as the coil out. And then when I did it this past Wednesday, I basically just saturated my hair and I just raked it. I didn't do anything else. I didn't spend much time. And then I hit it all 3 times. I hit it with the blow dryer. Now, typically they say you should diffuse. It's better for the coils. I don't have that kind of patience. I don't like heat. I don't like spending that kind of time. And that's why I know in my gut I'm going to go shorter because, honey, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay? But you blow dry and then that's it. At night, what I'll do is I just wrap it up in a nice big silk scarf. Let me show you what that looks like when I do it. Hold, please. Okay, so this is basically the beauty that I sleep in. All right, it's nice, it's large, and I'm just going to show you quickly For those of you that are interested in maybe chopping or doing this, what it looks like. So this is me, okay? And all I do at night is this. Nothing major. And the reason I do this is because one, don't be looking at my lumps and bumps. I have very sensitive skin, okay? So the last thing I want to do with this product in my hair, I don't care if it's dry or not, is I don't want to be sleeping. And because I'm a woman of a certain age and I spits at night, and when I spits, that means my skin gets, you know, damp as well as my hair. I'm trying not to use that M word, okay? Because I know it gives some people the skeevies. But I don't want that dampness to then activate product that I may be using. And then that product is then on my face, on my pillow. So I use this. And this allows me to just go to sleep as crazy as I want. I wake up and then I take it off. And in order to then get my fro to be reshaped, I put a little moisture on my hand and I just shape it. All right. And that's it. Bada bing, bada boom. Right. We're all about low maintenance in these streets over here. All right. So let me just say this. If you are thinking about a big chop, or if you're inspired to play with your own natural hair, do it. It's Women's History Month. It's 2025. Up is down, left is right. The world's going a little crazy right now for a 1Ks or doing a little bit of this. YOLO. YOLO, YOLO, YOLO. Am I right? You know it was coming. Every single video. Am I right? Of course I'm right. So that's it. So what's up next? I'm going to sit with this. I'm going to let it marinate. I'm going to let the spirit guide me. And then when I do get the inclination to go to the next step, I will let you know what that is. All right? And guess what? What am I going to say? I'm going to say, if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I appreciate you for watching. I hope you found something useful here. Go ahead and hit that subscription button, the notification bell, comments, please. Tell me, do you like it? Do you prefer the braids? Or do you prefer this do? Or do you prefer both? It was pretty cathartic for me. So thank you. Thank you for being here with me for this journey. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.